If you're raising children in this 2026, can you please come closer? Can we all unanimously agree that being a good parent is no longer enough? In case you're wondering what I mean, if you're raising children in this generation, I mean this 2026, being a good parent is no longer enough. Well, yes, you are good. It is one of the criteria to be a parent in this generation. But beyond that, there are three other kind of parents that you need to be. Number one, you have to be a friendly parent. You see all these people that say you are their parent, you are not their friend. I honestly don't understand the angle from which they are coming from. But for me, as a parent, parenting teenagers, and as someone who runs a school, I've been running a school for over 10 years in Lagos. I work closely with children and I have seen all sorts of problems. I will categorically tell you that it is safer to be their parent and also be their friend. See, parenting is all encompassing. The fact that you are friendly with your children doesn't mean you are not going to be firm, doesn't mean you're not going to discipline them when they misbehave. And if you have teenagers, let me just tell you one secret. You see, there are certain levels of discussions, certain levels of challenges that they will never discuss with you if you are not friendly with them. They will never open up to you at certain levels if you have not built the kind of relationship where they can come to talk to you about anything and everything without being afraid of being judged, being punished, or being scolded or anything. See, they're just going to be having regular conversations with you, but there are some deep conversations. And in case you're wondering what kind of deep conversation can my teenager have, the world has left you behind. The world has left you behind because if you know the kind of challenges, the kind of places that young people find themselves in these days, you're not going to be asking this kind of question. So be their friend. See, as a parent, I don't believe in this or that. It can be this and that and those and many more. You are their parent, you are their friend, you are their mentor, you are their prayer warrior, you are their advisor. You are parenting is all encompassing. So don't leave one for one. Don't say I am their parent, I am not their friend. You are everything. Be friendly with them. Be firm and be fair so that they can come and explain. They can open up to you at deeper levels. Number two kind of parent you should be the kind of parent that is available. Okay, don't just be a financial provider. You pay their school fees, they have food, and that is it. No, be available physically, be available emotionally, be available spiritually. Let your children know, let them see you as the number one go-to person. Yes, I know that parents have to work, but the little time that you have to spend with your children, make sure it is quality time so that they can rest assured in your presence. You understand? When you are there, they know you are there and they can have peace. And another thing your presence does for them is that when they have to make certain decisions, you are one of the first considerations they are going to have because you're constantly present for them, you are available for them. So even when they are faced with peer pressure, they are faced with tough challenges, you will be there for them to talk to you, be there for them to, they'll be able to open up to you. Another thing is the fact that when I say there are certain levels that children are not going to open up to you, let me give you a story. Now, I remember when my first son was 14 years old, he was in SS2, and we're just going, and he just said his friend was with him, and his friend said, That's the place. When we left, I decided not to ask him. When we went, he was not asking me that, do I know what that his friend was talking about? I said, No. He said the friend was showing him where they sell PET. In case you don't know what is PET, that is one of the reasons why you should be close to your children. I'm going to drop it probably in the caption so that you know exactly what I'm talking about. Now, the thing is that even boys, right? Sometimes teenage boys can be very funny and then they begin to body shame themselves, about their sizes. It's, you are very small, you are very this, you are very that, and these things begin to get to the boys and then they begin to look for solutions for themselves. I think it's only adults that have this type of problems, Abby. You'll be surprised at the kind of challenges that young people have these days. So these boys now begin to patronize all these guys in corners that sell enlargement creams just to help themselves. And in case you do not know as a parent, some of these teenagers in the classrooms now, in the schools now, they are helping vendors sell these PET creams to their friends, to their mates, and it's good business because they are buying. Like I said, if you are not friends with them, if you are not close to them, they will never open up to you at these levels. And these things have dangerous consequences. They don't know. That is why you should be there. You should be available. You should be friendly enough so that you can guide your children. You can help them clear misconceptions. You can teach them consequences that they will not learn from themselves. You know, so my son was like, "That's the shop." I said, "Eh." In all honesty, I've been passing that neighborhood because that was where I first had my school. I've been passing that neighborhood for over 6 years. Like I just see the guy's shop. To me, the guy sells biscuits to children. The guy sells bobo and all of that. But these young people, they know other things that they can patronize these guys for. So, as a parent, be friendly, be available. Number three kind of parents you should be is don't be aloof. Be the kind of parents that knows the kind of challenges that young people these days face, so that when you're talking with your children, your discussions are not just going to be boring, right? If you're talking to them in languages that you understand, if you're talking about challenges that they face, if you're talking about things that excite them, they'll open up to you at very deeper levels, you know. So don't just be the kind of parents that comes and says, "Don't follow bad gang, you know it's no good." That was advice for our own generation. Don't follow bad gang. You know, as children of God, you're supposed to, read your books, you're supposed to read your Bible or your Quran, go to church, listen to your teachers. That was advice for our generation, right? They call us the respect generation. We're very respectful. You see them, they are the why generation. For everything you tell them why. It is in this set of this generation that you will ask them, you hear them asking questions. Why are we here on earth? Why do we go to church? How do you know the Bible is real? How do you know this one is real? They are the why generation. So if you're a parent that is raising children in this generation, for every instructions you give them, right, if you don't want someone else to come with a stronger argument to come and override or to come and neutralize or to come and put doubt, in them over what you have told them, give them the reason why. When you're telling your children not to go into substance abuse, as a parent, try as much as possible to go and find the medical, the psychological, the emotional, the financial downside, the financial consequences of all of these things. So that when you sit your children down, especially your teenagers, and you're telling them that make sure you don't get involved with substance abuse, this issue of girls doing hookup all over the place, sit them down and begin to give them deep reasons why. That way they are grounded. Because we're raising children in an era where you see the moral lines, or in our time, we very well knew good and bad, right? The moral lines were so glaring. But now the moral lines have so faded that it takes a whole lot for you to tell a child that this is bad, and the child accepts that it is bad. The child may accept initially that this is bad, but then the child steps out and the child sees a lot of people, especially on the internet space, social media space. The child sees a lot of people, a lot of so-called influencers, so-called celebrities doing these things, and they are cashing out. Then there is doubt, then there is confusion, and the child is like, hey, but this person is doing it, this person is doing it, and all that. So as a parent, know the kind of challenges that your children or that young people in this generation face, and then take it a step further and then find out the consequences. Don't just tell them because it's not good, because you are a child of God. That is no longer enough. That was enough for us. Respect generation. You see this Y generation, give them instructions and tell them why. So, aside being a good parent, three other kind of parent you should be. Be a parent that is friendly with your children. Be their friend. It doesn't stop you from being their parent. It doesn't stop you from disciplining them right. Be a parent that is available, and be a parent that is aware. Be friendly, be available, be aware. Add all of this to being a good children, and God will continue to help us to raise responsible children. I'm Faith Benjamin, a parent coach and a child development advocate. Do well to follow this page so you can continue to receive amazing parenting tips that you can add to your existing parenting knowledge. Because, like I said, nobody can grandstand, nobody can come and say, I know it all when it comes to parenting. But what we do here is we share positive parenting tips that you can add to your parenting knowledge, and then you'll be the best. Thank you.